Okay, hello, it is Saturday, March 18th, yes, and it is 2 minutes after noon. This video is another installment in my reading for 24 hours because apparently this is the only way I can read now. Yet again, the 24-hour readathon is hosted by Melina Reads. I will link her in the description, and this time I'm actually following the prompts. The reading sprints already started, but I just want to quickly film the intro. Okay, so the only book that I'm definitely going to read is Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, because this is actually the only book that I definitely wanted to read today, and as it turns out, it aligns with one of the prompts, which is book that has an animal on the cover / as a character. And I think two of the covers that I found, they both have bunnies on the cover, so that's perfect. I will listen to it as an audiobook because I don't have it physically. And I also need to use a random emoji generator to figure out my first read. Haven't done that yet. Join some reading sprints. I will do that. Share a photo of your family pet. I feel like I always include my cats in those videos, so easy peasy. Get some fresh air. I think I'm going to go to this restaurant that's 20 minutes away from me by walking to eat my, I don't know, late lunch / dinner there. And the last one is roll 2 dice and play a round of TBR board. So yeah, I guess we'll figure out what I read along the way. Let me tune in to the reading sprints because they already started. It's 5 minutes after noon. Okay, hello, the first reading sprint is done. And as a shocking turn of events, I have to say, I'm not really enjoying Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, which, Jesus Christ, that's a long title. I didn't really tell you what it was about, so very quickly. This book focuses on the main character, Gilda, who's 28 years old. She's a lesbian and she's an atheist. She has trouble keeping a job, holding down a job, whatever the expression is, and she is a frequent visitor at the hospital because she thinks she's, having a heart attack, but it's anxiety. And I guess the turning point is when she kind of accidentally gets a job at a church. I don't know, is it a receptionist? I'm not... Churches have receptionists, I don't know, but some kind of assistant job. And yeah, she ends up accepting it and hiding that she's a lesbian and an atheist. This book, so it's supposed to be funny and quirky kind of. It definitely relies on the dark humor of it, but I don't know, to me personally it feels disingenuous. I don't know how else to explain it. I guess I'm not vibing with the humor, so I'm actually thinking of DNFing it because I just don't think I'm going to enjoy it. I genuinely think it's going to be a 1 or a 2 star. But maybe, I don't know, I kind of want to see where it goes. I don't know, I think I'm going to read a chapter or 2 more. The chapters are pretty long, so maybe 1 more chapter. Let's see. The first chapter was 45 minutes long, and the second chapter is...
Part 2.
What? The second chapter is 3 hours long. Okay, I will listen to it some more just to feel like I haven't given it a fair chance, but there is a high possibility that I'm going to DNF it. So let's figure out the rest of my TBR, because now I'm not very excited about what I'm reading for this vlog. So First, let's use a random emoji generator to... Oh man, no! Oh, motherfucker! Sorry. It said use a random emoji generator for your first read. I already failed. Why am I like this? Maybe I should just DNF it and pretend I never read it. Okay, let's use the random emoji generator. I'm scared. What if I don't have anything that like would work for the emoji that I get? It's fine, we're gonna get creative. Okay, let's go. What? When I first opened it, it was like a rugby ball, but when I clicked randomize, it showed a clock. Clock, okay. Maybe I can work with it. Okay, I'm going to figure out what options I have. Not seeing anything. Time, clock, maybe some place? I feel like I'm overthinking this. Like, time could be like something set in the past or a book set during like one day. It doesn't have to be like going back in time or anything with that in the title. Okay, I'm going to sort my Goodreads TBR from like shortest books because I want to finish something, and then I will come up with like a creative explanation why I want to read that. Okay, so I think I found something. They're both plays. Hope you don't mind. So we have The Crucible by Arthur Miller, and this was written in or published in 1953, but it is about the Salem's witch hunts from the 17th century. So it is categorized as historical fiction, so we're going back in time. It works, right? And the other option is Arcadia by Tom Stoppard. Tom Stoppard is actually a very famous playwright too, but I've never read anything by him. And this one is also categorized as historical fiction. It was published in 1993. Let me read you the synopsis real quick because I really found it fascinating. So, Arcadia takes us back and forth between the 19th and 20th centuries, raging over the nature of truth and time, the difference between classical and the romantic temperament, and the disruptive influence of sex on our orbits in life, focusing on the mysteries, romantic, scientific, literary, that engage the minds and hearts of characters whose passions and lives intersect across scientific planes and centuries. It is Stoppard's richest, most ravishing comedy to date, a play of wit, intellect, language, brio, whatever that means, and emotion. So, yeah, takes us back and forth between the 19th and 20th centuries. That sounds really interesting. I have both of those plays. Let me grab them. Okay, so I have both of them. I think Arcadia is a little bit shorter. I know people would probably want me to read The Crucible because it's more, like, popular, but I think I'm feeling like reading Arcadia. Arcadia? I'll figure that out later. Okay, I'm gonna read this one. Should I also figure out my other read by rolling the dices? Okay, I'm gonna do it so we have the whole TBR planned. Okay, I have the dices, whatever the plural is. I have the TBR board. Not sure if this is gonna work, but I just hope it doesn't land on historical fiction because I feel like historical fiction tends to be long, so we'll see. 10. Okay, this is start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pick a card! How do I pick a card? Okay, I have the cards. How should I pick it? Should I just like scroll? Because here we have, I think, about 30 cards. Should I just like scroll and just stop on something? Okay, stop. Magical fantasy element, no! Can I pick another? Okay, let's pick another. I don't like magical fantasy. Oh, we're in between. Stop. We're in between. Stop. Book you're not sure about. Okay. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so I have found Almond by Won-Pyung Sohn, which is a short novel by a Korean author, and I think it centers around this like young boy, a teenager maybe, who doesn't like experience emotions. Like so he has some kind of condition, but it's not autism. And I think at some point his mom and grandmother die and he doesn't know what to do. And yeah, things go from there. Why I'm not so sure about this book? I've heard some mixed reviews. I think recently Gabby from Gabby Reads read this and absolutely loved this, and I just started thinking, okay, maybe I should give it a try. But overall, I've heard like from other people that reviews I trust, they didn't really love it. But the audiobook is only 4 hours long, so yeah. But first I should start with Arcadia. Arcadia? Okay, let me figure that out right now.
Here in New York, the Lincoln Center production Arcadia opens this week as
Arcadia.
the Beaumont journalist and drama critic who captured our attention with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead in 1967, followed by Travesty, Jumpers, Real Inspector.
Wait, he wrote Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. I have read that. I didn't really like it. Okay, we'll see. I'm still reading Arcadia. Okay, I'm back, and I almost finished the first act of Arcadia. There are only 2 acts, so, and I'm loving it. Like, this was a perfect choice for the emoji that I got, the clock, because it does talk about time. And yeah, we have like 2 timelines, one in the 19th century and one in the 20th century. It says like modern day, so I'm guessing the 90s. And yeah, it has a lot of like literary references, and it talks about like how things changed over the years, over the centuries, but like we as people don't really, we still are looking for the same answers and have the same desires. So wow, yeah, so far I'm loving it. I was, while I was walking to the restaurant, I was listening to Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, but I was going to listen to it on my way back to my house, but I was just like, I don't want to. So I just listened to the music while I was walking. And yeah, also at the restaurant, I've been to this restaurant like twice before, but it's been a few years since I've been there. And it's a pretty nice restaurant, but it's not expensive really. Like in my area, this is one of the better restaurants. I don't have a lot of restaurants where I live because I don't really live in the center of Warsaw. I don't live in the suburbs necessarily, but yeah, it's just not. It's not the center. And I went there and the lady was like, do you have a reservation? I was like, no. I didn't know I had to have it. I don't know, I didn't need to have one before, so yeah. When I came in, the place was like packed, but there was like one little table that was free, and the lady said, if you can leave before like 5:30, you can have this table. So I was like, this is fine, because it was like 4:40 I think when I came in. And yeah, the food got there pretty quickly, so now it's 5:45. Oh, also when I was there, this like pretty famous actress came in, so I'm just like, maybe this is a fancy restaurant and I just didn't know it. And I actually, it's a Polish actress, so like you wouldn't know her. I actually briefly talked to her in the past when I was working at a theater. She was in this famous Polish play, I guess the translation would be The Wedding. And in this play, some actors like don't come to the stage from the backstage, but from the like entrances that normally like the audience comes in through. Does that make sense? So when the actors like come in through those doors, they obviously open the doors themselves, but we, I guess they're called ushers or something like that, we would like quietly close the doors behind them. So I did that for her and we talked a little bit and she seemed super friendly, very like upbeat. Yeah, so that was nice. So because of that, I started reminiscing on the time that I was working at a theater, and I'm going to tell you about one more encounter I had with an actor. So he was like one of the like older actors. He wasn't young, he wasn't like super handsome or anything, but I did admire him a lot. He was always very funny. You know those people that are just naturally funny, like no matter what they do, they just make things funny. He was that kind of guy. It was after I finished work, I was going to the elevator, still inside the building, and I was alone in this corridor and suddenly he came out of nowhere and he was wearing like, what do you call it? It's like a suit, but a very formal suit, and like top hat. I think he was rehearsing for a different play. I don't think we weren't playing that play that day. Never mind. And he like walked beside me for a moment, but I was walking towards the elevator that was like straight ahead, a bit further up, and he was about to like take a turn on the left, and he just like, before he took a turn, he just turned to me, took his little top hat and like bowed very deeply and said very like seriously, "Have a good evening," and just left. And I was like, what? And a few seconds after he did that, I was just like frozen in my place because it was so like cute and charming. I don't know. And I just like squealed very loudly, and there's no way he hadn't heard that because it was like seconds after he left, so that's embarrassing. But it was very cute. I don't even remember if I answered him like, you too, thank you. It was probably something like that. So that was my story. I'm going to change. I only put this like fancy outfit on. Oops. I only put this fancy outfit on because I was going to that restaurant, and good for me because suddenly it's the fancy restaurant now where actors go. So I'm going to change probably into like sweatpants, and hopefully I will finally finish something. Okay, so I finished the play. It's like 9 p.m. I spent the last 40 minutes just staring at the wall because I think I just read my favorite play of all time. Okay, I don't think I ever gave you like a full synopsis, and it's going to be very hard to explain what this book is about because it's set in like 2 different like timelines, or I don't know if timeline is the right word, but yeah, I'm going to read you a synopsis from Wikipedia. So bear with me, sorry about that. Okay, in 1809, Thomasina Coverley, the daughter of the house, is a precocious teenager with ideas about mathematics, nature, and physics well ahead of her time. She studies with her tutor, Septimus Hodge, a friend of Lord Byron, an unseen guest in the house. In the present, writer Hannah Jarvis and literature professor Bernard Nightingale converge on the house. So they're like in the same location. So like both the 19th century and the 20th century scenes are set in the same place. She is investigating a hermit who once lived on the grounds. He is researching a mysterious chapter in the life of Byron. As their studies unfold, with the help of Valentine Coverley, a postgraduate student in mathematical biology, the truth about what happened in Thomasina's time is gradually revealed. So, this book talks about the relation between nature and like mathematics and science. It talks about history and how like biographies, for example, are just like an interpretation of what happened in the past, and yeah, a lot of it can be inaccurate. It talks about literary criticism, and at its center there is, I don't know if you would, what do you call it? The chaos theory? I don't know math. So like, you know, I think the chaos theory talks about like how everything like is like chaos and disorder, but there are still like some patterns and some things that repeat, and that's what this play talks about. And that kind of reflects actually in the structure of the play. It's very interesting. So I have no idea if I like sold you on this, but it is fascinating. Y'all, why are we talking about Shakespeare when Tom Stoppard is like right here? Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. I would love to reread it and annotate it, but yeah, for now obviously this is a 5-star. So there's that. I think I'm going to finish, I'm not that far into it, but I think I'm going to continue reading Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, finish it up, and maybe start Almond. It is 9 p.m, but yeah, there's still 12, 13, 14, 15 hours left? Yes. Okay, so, wow, I'm so happy. I don't know. I'm not sure if anything I said made sense, but yeah, I have no words. I don't know how to talk about books I like.
I don't have anything to make notes, so if you do.
Okay, I just had a bath and I wanted to give you a quick update because while I was in the bath, I've decided to read The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, and it's a short story. It's very short, like, I don't know, 10-15 pages, I don't know. And I have to say, this short story was mentioned on some list of like best short stories of all time, and I have to say, I don't get it. Genuinely do not understand why it would be. Like, it's a very simple story, and maybe I would be more surprised because I found it very predictable, like from the very beginning I kind of knew where it was going, and maybe if I didn't know what kind of writer Shirley Jackson is, it would be more surprising. But yeah, I'm not sure what rating it to give because like I understand what it's saying, I really do. Like, it's talking about tradition and like how we as a society continue doing some things just because it's a tradition or a law, even though it's like outdated or it shouldn't be done. And another thing, like, I understand what the lottery might be like alluding to because like it was written after the Second World War. So because of those two things, I'm not going to give it like 1 star. Also, I didn't hate it. It's a very simple short story, and I actually wanted more. That's what it is. I wanted more context, more nuance. So is it a 2-star or is it a 3-star? It's like a 2.5 star. Yeah, just fine. I like what it's saying, but... And like, you know how I'm saying, like, I would like more context, I would like more nuance. I don't think it needed to be a lot longer to, like, give us more context. Like, I feel like I needed, like, a page or 2 more. And maybe some people would be like, it's saying a lot for, like, how short it is. I wouldn't say so. I've read some, like, amazing short stories that said so much more on also, like, very little pages. So, yeah, just overall disappointed. Yeah. Okay, this is probably the last update. I will continue listening to Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead and probably update you in the morning. Okay, so it is 11:57, 58 actually. Yeah. And I still have 14 minutes of the audiobook, so I will go like 10 minutes over time. But it's fine.
What follows is sort of closer to my story. My soul slipped out of my body and looked down the road, holding me in his arms high. My hair was patched his head and sheet of scar. I realized I had not once left him. I feel the taking place in front of us. Bone prints will slide something into my hair. I spread out my fingers to find a translucent marble rolling in my palm. A red curved line through the depths of steel iron repeats itself as my goal was receiving therapy wasn't ready to see me again. Professor Yoon took me from Massachusetts College to change his life and live solely for gold. Don't still didn't help me much, but Professor Yoon said he would never give up trying. The director was Alex Martinez. Executive producer, Caitlin Gehring. Text copyright 2020 by Won-Pyung Sohn. Production copyright.
Okay, so let's wrap this blog up and let me review the 2 books I haven't really talked about yet. So both of those books I read as an audiobook, and both of those books have some similarities when it comes to like my critique of them. So let's start with Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead. I actually ended up enjoying it a little bit more than I anticipated. I'm going to give it 3 stars. So you know, it's not a perfect book, but you know, it's an improvement from my like initial like 1/2 star rating. my main problem was with the humor. So this book kind of reminded me kind of tonally and thematically of We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson and Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by... I don't remember the author's name. And both of those books I actually really liked, but I think the difference is... So the similarities are like main characters who struggle with their mental health, but there's this like dark humor in this book. And the reason why the two other books that I mentioned worked for me and everyone in this room will someday be dead didn't as much was because of the humor. Like, especially in the first half, I felt like it tried to be a little bit too quirky and the humor felt a little bit forced. But the further I got, the more... Oh, sorry about the glare on my glasses. But the further I got, a little bit more serious the tone of the book was, and the main character was a little bit more in tune with her emotions, I think. So I think that's why this book ended up kind of working for me in the end. The ending was a little bit too... like everything was like tied in a little bow. I don't know, the ending was a little bit too positive for me, I guess. And that's kind of similar critique that I have of Almond. So when it comes to Almond, my experience was kind of the opposite. I started off with really enjoying this book and then things went downhill. Both everyone in this room and Almond are described as like literary fiction, but I didn't feel like it was very literary. It felt more like contemporary / journal fiction. And I was going some... Oh, and the ending of Almond also, without spoiling anything, was a bit too convenient. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to talk about the ending of Almond in a little bit more detail because that's what just pissed me off. So skip to this time if you don't want to be spoiled. But basically the ending is something that I hate. When a book like has some kind of like disability, like illness representation. It's basically that the main character was like cured by I don't know, love and friendship, and now everything like is fine in his life. I hate those kind of endings. So yeah, when it comes to Almond, also like the further we got, the more like melodramatic the story was. So I ended up giving Almond 2 stars. And one last thing I wanted to mention when it comes to Arcadia. I think I would like to correct myself because I feel like the way I talked about this play made it seem like it's very highbrow and kind of hard to understand. And that's not the case at all. While, you know, there are some discussions about like math and like biology and like literary criticism. Like there are some theoretical discussions, but it's still quite accessible and actually surprisingly unpretentious, I would say. I think partially it's because of the characters. They're very vivid and flawed, but they're very like witty and the banter is very entertaining. And the characters swear, they like casually talk about sex, both in the like 19th century scenes and the 20th century. In the 19th century, sex is called carnal embrace, but there are scenes like in the 20th century where those like 2 scholars argue, and like this one scholar presents this like speech to his friends before he like goes to London and like gives a lecture on the topic, and he's like very like pompous and like serious, and he's like, okay, so this letter definitely proves that Lord Byron did this and that, and this other character, Hannah, is just like listening to him and is like, oh, get fucked, Bernard, no, it doesn't prove anything. There is this like unpretentious vibe, and love the representation of scholars just being regular people. And yeah, so I would love to hear more people talking about this play, and I hope I didn't put you off of reading it. Is that the right sentence? Whatever. Okay, so this was an interesting reading vlog. I read 3 books and 1 short story. We had a 2-star with Almond, 2.5 star with The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, a 3-star, Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead, and then a glowing 5-star with Arcadia. So overall I would say it was successful. I'm really glad I ended up reading Arcadia. And yeah, that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next one. Bye!